multiple. I'm going to record now. I don't care. If you're on the phone, it's recording in a second. Multiple. What does that mean? All of the following are functions of something except. All of the above. None of the above. Don't have a lot of them. They're peppered in there a little bit. So this is the test where you want to start seeing those things, so you really need to understand what you're learning. All right, I'm just giving you a heads up. There are quite a few true false in this test. You should know the different parts of a muscle cell. The effect of calcium, sarcoplasmic reticulum, what sodium and potassium effects are, acetylcholine, acetylcholine esterase, myosin, onin, actin, F-actin, G-actin, myosin. All type. So you should pretty well be able to label and identify and give me a description of what these things do. Also, Z-discs, A-bands, I-bands, M-lines, H-zones. Should know them too. You should know the concept of a motor unit and what I just described to you. Because once we stimulate the axillary nerve, not every muscle that nerve goes to fires, does it? It fires what it needs to fire. Again, you should have a very good knowledge of the components of actin, the components of myosin. Concentric versus eccentric contractions. Isotonic versus isometric. How you increase the strength of a contraction. What's that function, how it contracts? In other words, picking something light up versus picking up something heavy. What myoglobin is, and its role in muscle contraction. Those pictures of the different types of cells, multipolar, bipolar, unipolar, you will see them on this test. And not only should you be able to identify them, but identify where they are in the body and what they do. I have a picture of a synapse. You should be prepared to label the different parts of the synapse. An action potential. Yeah, you're lucky. The one thing I couldn't find was the actual action potential. But you should understand what that little chart is, because I asked you about depolarization, repolarization, what takes place during repolarization, what gates are open, sodium or potassium, what gates are open during repolarization, what refractory period is, absolute versus relative refractory period. We talked about that, whether or not a nerve can be re-stimulated during refractory period. The different lever systems, first, second, and third class levers. Figure out a way to remember them, because I asked you quite a few questions And the bonus is I have a diagram. We were going through the different muscles and the labels of them and their names. I told you I don't ask a lot of questions about muscle names, but I did say to you as we were going through that unit, that chapter, this picture you should probably remember. I don't know if you remember that. You should have circled it. That picture's on your test. Don't give me a moment. You should have circled it on the chart when I get my phone. I'm not going to take this one. I went over it and I said to you when that thing came up, I said you should probably remember this one. There's a difference between a synergist, an antagonist, an agonist, and a fixator. I do ask some questions about what is a synergist to another muscle. For instance, again, if I'm telling you this, it's probably not on your test, like the biceps brachii and the brachialis are synergists to produce this movement. They work together. There are other muscles in the body, in the lower extremities, that do the same thing, work synergistically. I ask you about some prime movers, nothing real detailed, just the larger muscles in the, I don't ask you about small muscles. I said you should know, what produces power in a muscle, how much power you need to use. In naming a muscle, when we use the word triceps, biceps, quadriceps, what are we talking about? I said there are about X amount of muscles in the human body. You should probably know about how many there are. Different terms we use to describe muscles and actions like flexor, extensor, levator. You should be able to define those terms. If I say something like this group of infrahighway muscles are called that because, the answer obviously is because they're below the highway muscle. I mean, I might ask you something like that about a different group of muscles. So based on what the muscle group is called, you should be able to dissect the word and know what I'm talking about. How many times have I stood up here and said, don't get intimidated by words, dissect the word and know what I'm asking you. The different groups we talked about, the quadriceps group, the hamstring group, the flexor group in the forearm, the extensor group. You should have a basic understanding of what muscles make up these groups. Now, I talked about neurotransmitter. There's really only one that I've talked about. You should probably know what it is. You should know your glial cells and their functions. You should know what a synapse is and what its function is. We talked about the central nervous system versus the peripheral nervous system. Know the difference. You should know what a collection of nerve cell bodies is in the central nervous system versus the peripheral nervous system. You should know what the coverings on nerve cells are in the central nervous system versus the peripheral nervous system. I've already told you should know the active potential, what gates open for what chemical to flow through in different parts of that chart. You should basically know what the autonomic system is for what I've gone over. Nothing more than I've gone over. know what the neurolema is. I referred to it today. The different characteristics of neurons. We talked about its ability to produce itself and things like that. Our ability should have some understanding of that. 95 questions on the test. 2 essays. I think I already told you what's on the essays, so you should already know.
And what's in the essay?
All right. For those of you that were sleeping through my lecture today, which seems to be most of you, your essay questions are essentially, you should know your neuroglial cells, because you're going to have to know them to take the test anyway, because if you don't know them, you're going to miss a third of the test. And you should be able to dissect